Louisville, but actually I started quite a bit before that for fun. I played soccer my whole life, starting probably age 4, and in high school, to cross-train, I did this boxing for fitness in between, like in the 2-month off-season there was, and it gave my cardio a big boost, and I loved it. So when I came down to University of Louisville to play soccer, I was looking for some kind of boxing class and ended up finding a self-defense class, which was okay. I did it for a little while, but I ran into Haycraft at the gym, and he told me to try his Muay Thai class, and it's kind of been that way ever since. Once I tried the first class, I knew it was a real sport. Been an athlete my whole life, so I really admired and responded well to the organization, the different steps, and also just the methodology of the whole thing. It's very meticulous, very well thought out, and a lot of different levels. He really breaks it down. So I was just training for fun because, like I said, I played soccer, so I couldn't really compete or anything. Didn't really think I was gonna fight, but turns out I have 30 fights now, well, almost 28. I got my 29th in about a week, and then 2 weeks after that I'm going to go to Holland for my 30th fight. It'll be my first A class, which is professional in American terms. So as it turns out, I did get my first fight, but I think I trained for probably about 3 years. First off, I played soccer when I first started kickboxing, so I couldn't compete because I would lose my scholarship if I got injured. And then once I finished my 4 years up of eligibility, I went into grad school, and in December 2008, I graduated with my doctorate in physical therapy. So I competed throughout grad school, first fight in 2007. But long before I ever fought, I just trained for fun here. And the way he breaks down his classes, fighters train with beginners, even to this day. Basically, I don't do anything different than I did when I first started. I just supplement everything. So I do extra. I do my pad work, I do my sparring, my cardio, my running, and I still come in on that Tuesday, Thursday beginner class, as well as the beginner advanced mixed classes, and I do the drills because no matter whether you fight or not, it's the basics that you need, and those never go out, and you're never above that. Eric always yells at me, says, I'm pretty sure De La Hoya, even though he's got one of the fastest jabs, continued to work on making his jab faster. So Eric really hones in on basics, and then he works on, like I said, the methodology and building the thought process of fighting. So whether I was going to fight or not, I trained just the same. And what it turns out is, once I started fighting, all of the basics that were in the beginner classes were the foundation to my fight career. They're my bread and butter. So very grateful for that. And like I said, anyone can start up and go through his classes and go through the process and take it to wherever they want. As I mentioned, I only got my first fight after my 3 years of pretty rigorous training and sparring. That's a little unorthodox in the States, but anyone can really have a first fight after, you know, a week of training or whatnot. However, in order to really have longevity in the sport, you need that foundation. You need those 3 years of just learning to fight, because your first 10 fights, you're not even going to know what's going on. So it's really just the training, the motor memory and everything you've had over those years that's going to pull you through. So it's a little unorthodox to train as long as we do typically here. Just say typically it takes about 3 years before you get your first fight, but it's well worth it because you're a level above just going in that ring. You know that you can fall back on more than just tenacity. So that's always helpful, and I feel like it always gives me an edge when I go overseas, because we don't have kickboxing to the level, or Muay Thai to the level that it is overseas here in the States, simply because it's a new sport. It's not as, the history is a lot shorter here in the US, especially now as everything kind of gravitates towards MMA. That too is a new sport, so we don't have the roots they have overseas, like in Holland or Thailand, of course. So in order to do that, you really have to be serious, and you have to take it on as an athlete and train hard before you can really compete in order to take yourself to that next level, because the next level outside the States is a big jump, one I'm still trying to make. So I don't think there's anything wrong with waiting and working and having been an athlete my whole life, I understand that process, and so does Eric. So I think that's also why it puts him a step above everyone else as a coach, a fighter, and a businessman. So after I finished physical therapy school, I passed my boards, got my license, and now I've been a physical therapist for almost 3 years. I work with kids that are birth to age 3, and while I do love fighting, being a physical therapist is my other love. Unfortunately, in the States, you can't really just be a fighter and have a substantial income. So luckily, I'm a physical therapist, and I get to have a very flexible schedule because of that. So I work in the morning, train, work in the afternoon, finish up my paperwork, and then go back to the gym in the evening. So very fortunate I can do both in order to fight and kind of supplement fighting with PT and supplement PT with fighting. I think they really help to enrich my life, and I enjoy doing both of them, so it's a pleasure.